Hey everybody, in this video we're going to learn about nested if statements. So nested meaning inside of another thing, and we can have an if statement inside of an if statement. We can have an if statement inside of an elif. We can have an if statement inside of an else. A bunch of different combinations. So this is how we're going to approach it on this one. So for this one we're just checking if the username is correct. And if it is, then we're going to welcome the person. So think of this as like a login system. But we don't want to just let them enter if they get just one thing correct, which is their username. We want them to be able to enter only if both their username and password are correct. So this code right here, this print statement runs only if this statement is true. So we're going to add another little thing that checks if the password is good. So if the password equals all of this, let's get rid of the one at the end. Make this a double equals, and then make sure we put a colon at the end of it. And then we're going to need to make sure that we indent this print statement so it's inside this if. So this code right here, this one line runs if this statement is true, and then this line runs if this statement is true, which ultimately, this will only run if both of these are true. So we're checking to see if two conditions are true. Now, if we go ahead and run this, it says, welcome Steve. If I add a 1 to the password, like I entered it incorrectly, then nothing happens. If I go back, we're good. If I add a 1 to Steve, which is the username, it doesn't work anymore. So this works just fine. Now, what if we want to go ahead and give some feedback to the user if their password was incorrect? So this if statement has the indentation right here. So I'm going to attach an else at the same indentation level. And then I'm going to go ahead and print bad password. Let's go ahead and run this. Welcome Steve. Let's make it look like they entered a bad password. Then it says bad password. So this statement was true. This statement was false. So this did not run. And then it went to this else statement, which automatically runs if this one didn't. Has nothing to do with the top one. Only if this one didn't, then this one will run. Let's also do the same thing for the username. This one's going to look a little bit weirder, but understand the idea of indentation. So if we want an else for if the username is not Steve, we're going to have to unindent it all the way back and line it up with that if statement. Then we can see something like print incorrect username. Let's put this back, make sure everything's good. So both the username and the password are correct. So it says welcome Steve. Then let's make the username incorrect. It says incorrect username. Even if I make the password wrong, it still says incorrect username because this is the first condition that gets checked. If this one is false, it'll skip all of this stuff and go right to the else and run it. That's why it says incorrect username, even though they're both wrong. All right, let's go ahead and add a little something. Is bio valid? So last time we talked about like a biometric, and just have like a little bit more fun, introduce something that we've already done. If their password is correct, or if is bio valid. So only if this, or actually if only one of them is true, either if this is true or this is true, then we're good. So it says welcome Steve because Steve is good for the username. And actually both of these are fine. If I make the password wrong, it still says we're good. If I make the bio also not good, then now it's bad. So neither of these were correct or true. Therefore this will run. And then if I make this bad and this true, then this statement will still be good because one of them is true. And we get welcome Steve. So there you go. So this is how we can use nested if statements. And I would say the biggest takeaway is understanding that nested if statements allow to check multiple conditions, and only if 2 of those, or maybe even more, are true, then go ahead and run a piece of code. We'll find out a different way to go ahead and approach this in the next video. Nice job learning about nested ifs. If you want to make things a little bit tighter, you guys can learn about and statements right there. Super valuable. Or you guys can go back and take a look at a previous video or statements. Very nice too. All right, take care, everybody.